Let us pray that someone will be willing to speak with us about the resistance. When we were free, Alphino is eager to get to work. So to review, we are reliably informed that members of the Alamegan resistance operating here have taken receipt of several large shipments of crystals, our task being to ascertain who and why. Given the size of the settlement, I find it hard to believe that anyone here would be wholly unaware of the resistance movements. The challenge, of course, will be finding individuals who are both able and willing to share such information with outsiders. Well, I'm not so much an outsider here. It would seem sensible to divide our forces. Lavenza, why don't you question the residents in the eastern half of town? Which actually I'm more... Like, I know... I don't recall his name, but the dude that's actually on the western side of town. But okay. Alize and I will do the same in the west. And afterwards, we can rendezvous here to share our findings. Yeah, I don't recall his name, but the dude that's... I don't actually... I think he's like a leader around here, but... Whatever. Okay, are we looking up or down? Oh, well, there's at least one person up. The resistance? Damned if I know. It's not as if I'd be any use to him. If you set store by... Yeah, if you set store by all these tales of secret weapons, good luck to you. But I'm too old for the mask's bedtime stories. This is our lot, and it's time we get used to it. Okay, so now we've got tell of somebody going by the mask, or several people going by the masks. Let me guess. Come to join the fight, have you? No need to deny it, friend. You're not the first to answer the Griffin's call. While he's lit a fire in every Alamegan's heart, he's also inspired more than a few old uns to pledge themselves to the cause. And little wonder, the Garleans won't stop until we're all under the yoke. So the Griffin has not only the ear of Alamegans, but some old uns. I see you there, going around asking questions, looking for the Griffin in his lot, I'll bet. Seems they're the talk of little Alamigo these days. Folk wondering what he's about, what he's got in store for the Garleans, and what's under the mask of his, of course. And what's under that mask of his, of course. Some say he's hardly got a face, what with all the scars. Others reckon he's been marked for death by the Empire, and that they'd send a bloody legion if they knew he was here. Your guess is as good as mine. I don't recall actually how long this story arc is. The only thing I know we really have left is to deal with the Warriors of Darkness and then the Griffin, or, Ilberd. Well, that was easier than expected. There's not a soul here who isn't eager to talk about our masked friends. I suppose I should ask what you learn, but I think I already know. This Griffin seems to be the leader of a newly formed faction within the Resistance, the Masks. Yet despite their growing popularity, no one seems to know much about them. Only that they are the most aggressively militant group to join the movement in recent memory. Indeed, many claim their commitment to the cause of Many claim their commitment to the cause of Alamegan liberation is unrivaled. We can but hope their revolutionary fervor is never channeled in the direction of a primal. Though I feel confident that this is the group which received the crystal shipments, we yet lack proof. Before taking any action, I would speak with the settlement's leader to confirm my suspicions, and mayhap enlist his help while I am about it. Given that you and Gundabald are already acquainted, mayhap it would be best if you took the lead. Shall we? No, you took the west. You didn't talk to him yet? Yeah, it's nice going through this stuff like all kind of in one go now, because I'm sure when I did this originally, like I didn't know who the hell Gundabald was. You know, or I'd forgotten. To hear people speak of him, the Griffin sounds like a man in his middle years. But if that's the case, just what has he been playing at for the past 2 decades? If he's so devoted to the cause, why has he waited until now to do something about it? Unless, of course, he hasn't. I skipped a lot. Yeah, I didn't skip any of it, but I mean, particularly once you get into the patch content, you know, you're given, well, now at least, you know, from my own experience this time around, it's anywhere between 2 to 4 hours of content per patch. And when that stuff is, you know, 3.5 to 4 months apart, it can be really easy, you know, to forget, you know, characters such as Gundabald and so on. And then Gundabald, we haven't even, I think, done anything with since A Realm Reborn patches. So, I mean, you figure by this time, you know, you're probably more than a year out from the last time you talked to the dude. Not would please me more than to be wrong about all of this. Much as it pleases me to see you again, Lavenza, I cannot help but wonder if I should be worried. I hear you and yours have been asking questions. The Griffin? I know of him, as do we all. He and his mass have become a leading faction within the Resistance. Though there was suspicion at first given his secretive ways, he quickly proved himself a charismatic and capable commander. Men are drawn to his passion and his vision. They truly believe that he has what it takes to lead them to victory. Even I cannot help but admire the man for what he's accomplished, but I have not forgotten Wilred. I was blind to the danger of his ambitions, and you were not. The Griffin will soon deliver a speech to our people at the sunken temple of Karn. Go and see him with your own eyes. Weigh his words with your own heart. How convenient. 'Tis but a pity Thancred is not here to join us. You two go on ahead. I shall stay behind and wait for him. Whatever could be keeping him. If he's taken the scenic route, leaving us to do all the hard work, I shall treat him to a piece of my mind. Men who can inspire such fervor in their followers are destined to shape the world. In what manner, however, is not always clear until it is too late. The young ones were led astray once. Help us ensure that it never happens again, for their sake and for Wilred's. Yeah, this is definitely not someone you want to be following. Although, you know, it always makes you wonder as to, you know, like as bad as their actions are, you know, do those actions, you know, turn into the catalyst that allows us, you know, because obviously, like, at least this storyline leads into us eventually going into um uh what is it called? It's not all. I mean, it's all Amigo, but the greater area or what. But anyway, it spurs us to go into that. So yeah, patch content I've kept up with, but with ARR and Heavensward, I really didn't pay much attention. It was a bad call. Yeah. I don't know. I guess I always paid attention, but just certain details just either kind of didn't stick with me at the time or were just lost over time. And certainly, I don't think I was as invested in the game in A Realm Reborn. Because I played it like from beta through finishing 2.0, but then after that, there wasn't anything after 2.0 really. Anything else to do. They didn't have any of the Crystal Tower or Binding Coil. I believe there wasn't even the first turn, I think, at the time. So, I ended up going off to something else, play something else for a while, until whenever Ninja was introduced. I don't recall what patch that was, but that's when I came back to the game and, caught up on all the story and everything. But, yeah, I don't know. I wasn't. I mean, I could argue even throughout, like, Heavensward and Stormblood, I wasn't even as invested as I am now, just because Shadowbringers was so good. It really kind of cemented the game for me. Has it begun already? I hear voices coming from within.
Brothers and sisters, 20 years ago, Alamigo, our home, was claimed by the Garlean Empire.
Yeah, he kind of sounds like Ilberd, but mostly coming from the accent, which even...
In our haste to overthrow the King of Ruin, we turned a blind eye to our foes in the north. With our glorious revolution, we but laid a path for a new tyrant to succeed the old. And when confronted with our failure, we fled.
Raubon kind of has that accent too. So I just take it's an Alamegan accent.
Not a day goes by that I do not think of those we left behind. Think of them and feel ashamed. And I know each and every one of you feels the same. We abandoned them, our own flesh and blood, to labor till their backs gave in and their breath gave out, building the twisted steel ramparts which now mar our once majestic mountains.
But I don't even think this is Ilberd.
We abandoned them, the brave and true, to fight and die for their country, or worse, to be conscripted and sent off to rob another poor bastard of his home. We abandoned them, the meek and powerless, to bow and scrape when the Garleans pass, to sully themselves that they might live to see another day of misery.
Yeah, because I think...
The Black Wolf may be dead, but a new Imperial Viceroy reigns in Alamigo now. A beast, not a fraction as merciful. You all know the Eorzean Alliance will do naught to oppose him. For all their promises and platitudes, they will not act if there's no profit in it. Only we can free our brothers and sisters from the Empire's tyranny, my friends. Only we have the courage to stand and fight. They have imprisoned us. They have enslaved us. And they have murdered us. But no more! Blood demands blood, and the Garleans shall pay for every drop they have spilt upon our lands. This I promise you, for we have a power within us, my friends. A power befitting our pride, our righteousness. Only join us, and we shall grant you the means to unleash it, and together we shall see the Alamegan standard raised over the mountains of Gia Arbania once more!
Because I remember the Griffin is like multiple people or whatever. It's Ilberd.
Power befitting their pride. Not at all ominous, that. Wait, is that...
Aha!
What are you two doing here?
I could ask you the same thing.
Well, well, this is quite the surprise.
Yeah, thanks for calling.
If you see what I see, if you feel as I feel...
Might I suggest we continue this conversation in more agreeable surroundings?
For it is not strength of arms that will win this battle, but strength of heart.
Yeah, anyway, as I was saying, I remember, like, the Griffin being multiple people, decoys or whatever it is. So I don't know that that dude was even Ilberd. And then, yeah, like, I had forgotten that we just ran back into these two, like, at a rally. Of all the places to meet, it has to be fate. Mayhap it is my imagination, but you seem rather more rugged and world-weary than when last we spoke. Jeez, yeah. Like, thanks for at least letting us know you're still alive. Like, even just a hint or something. You would think, like, the reunion with these characters would be voiced. Words cannot express how glad I am to see you both alive and well. And you, though it was pretty obvious you and Lavenza would be fine. The Crystal Braves never had a realistic chance of capturing any of the Scions, divided as they were and distrusted by the better part of Eorzea. Never had a realistic chance of capturing any of the Scions, divided as they were and distrusted by the better part of Eorzea. How are the Crystal Braves divided and distrusted? Or is he talking about the Scions were divided and distrusted by the better part of Eorzea? Maybe that's what I'm not getting. Or misunderstood. I don't know. But if you truly believe that, forgive me, why exactly have you two been doing... what exactly have you two been doing all this time? Repaying a favor. After the banquet, we had no choice but to flee Ul'dah, and we would not have been able to do so without the aid of some old friends from the Resistance. That's right, they smuggled us out of the city and sheltered us in Little Alamigo, all at great risk to themselves. Obviously, we couldn't let that go unacknowledged, so we offered to help them out with their operations for a while. When we learned of the Scion's exoneration, that Lolorito had severed all ties with the Crystal Braves, and that General Raubon had been reinstated, we resolved to make contact. But having long since discarded our link pearls as a precautionary measure, our options were rather limited. I mean, still always could have taken a look at the Waking Sands. To make matters more complicated, we were embroiled in a delicate operation at the time, leaving me with little choice but to entrust a letter to a courier. I gather from your puzzled expressions, however, that you never received it. Okay, at least they did reach out. To be honest, we thought this might happen. While the masks are happy to let the refugees spread the word within the community, they're pretty strict about communicating with outsiders. Oh, and we also heard a rumor that the Griffin doesn't want us meddling in his affairs. The Griffin mistrusts the Scions of the Seventh Dawn? Well, yeah, because he's Ilberd. Curious. It is well known that we are no friends to Garlemald. One would think the man we saw beseeching all and sundry to join his cause would welcome our support. And I should say that the man you saw was not in fact the Griffin, but an impersonator, and a talented rabble-rouser to boot. 'Twould not surprise me if he were responsible for the majority of these public appearances. As you may have gathered, the Griffin is an extremely cautious and distrusting man who has made every effort to conceal his identity. Even when we participated in a raid under his direct command, we were not permitted to approach him. It's hard to know what to make of it all. The secrecy, the impersonators, the masks. What? Oh, yeah. It's not as if I'm making all of you wear one. And mine only covers half my face. It's completely different. Anyway, when we heard the Griffin was due to give a speech, we thought it might be a good opportunity to get a better sense of the man behind the, for all the good it did. And now you have heard the whole of it. But tell me, what prompted you to take an interest in the Griffin? Summoning? You're not serious. I can't believe it. The Resistance would never even entertain such a ridiculous plan. But the Griffin, well, the man is an enigma. I cannot say with any confidence what he would or would not do. What I can say, however, is that the speech we heard today was not the first to make reference to a power capable of defeating the Empire. The mass have made many such claims of late. I confess, I had assumed it to be mere bluster, but in the context of the shipments of which you spoke, it is not impossible that they are alluding to a primal. Whatever it is, we'll find out together. And if anyone tries to stop us, they'll answer to me. Indeed. That is, assuming you'll have us. Well, of course. Do you honestly think he's planning to liberate Alamigo with the help of a primal? I mean, could he really be that stupid? Yes. Yes, Ilberd is that stupid. In retrospect, their tale is not so surprising. We had reason to believe that they had escaped with the aid of Alamigan refugees after all. Still, Tataru will be delighted to hear we have been reunited. Once we have attended to matters here, of course. Yeah, and they still don't... Well, I guess maybe, you know, when our character is sitting there explaining, may have given the whole story, I don't know, you know, about Y'shtola and Thancred and Minfilia. But maybe not. Honorable heroes. Papalymo has a mind to learn the Griffin's true intentions. If, as you suspect, the Griffin is indeed plotting to summon a primal, we must needs obtain confirmation while there is yet time to act. To that end, I propose we question his double. Given his role as the group's de facto mouthpiece, I should not be surprised if he were one of the Griffin's closest associates. And while he may not be aware of the most sensitive details, he can probably tell us the mass plans in broad strokes. Like the man whom he impersonates, however, he is wary of outsiders. He will not expose himself without a suitable incentive. My plan is as follows. You and Alphino will pose as adventurers fallen on hard times, inspired by his words to take up arms for a noble cause. Yida and I, as members of the Resistance, will recount tales of your past achievements and testify as to your usefulness in the struggles ahead. With our enthusiastic assurances still ringing in his ears, he will decide to welcome you in person, and we will arrange a meeting. I mean, if this dude knows what Ilberd knows, then no, it won't. But presumably Ilberd doesn't let really anybody know who he is. So this dude, this, the mouthpiece or whatever, may not know who we are. You will need to look the part that we might maintain the charade until we have him cornered at least. Here, this should be enough to purchase suitable garments from Telebot and to have him rub a reasonable amount of dirt on them for good measure. Any questions? It all seems simple enough, thank you. And with that, Lavenza, let us be off. Our identities will be revealed, but it can't be helped. We don't have time for a cleverer approach. Talbot has an assortment of affordable clothing which he sells to the refugees. The sum in that sack should more than suffice. But if it and my name are not enough to secure his cooperation, pay him double. I shall see that you are recompensed. It's fine, dude. I probably got more than you. And I doubt these clothes cost in the millions, so... But this game doesn't even actually have you spend your money anyway, so... Well, don't look at me. You are the one with the sack of gil. You do have the sack of gil, don't you? I spent it. It's like already? Eh? You want to buy what? I don't know what you're up to, but I want no part of it. Sack of gil, a heavy leather pouch entrusted to you by Papalymo. Not all problems can be solved with a fistful of gil. For the rest, one must needs resort to a sack. Well, you're the ones with the gil, and seeing as you're friends of Papalymo. There, tunic and slops for the both of you. Tailored and, treated to your tastes. Now, off with you, before someone sees us together. Clothes maketh the man, as they say. Right then, I will go and change and see you at the spot Papalymo marked on our maps. While wearing the weathered shepherd's tunic and slopes. What am I doing? Okay, there we go. Okay, so just these two. I mean, I still have the gauntlets and the boots and the big ass sword on my back, but oh. I guess I could. Unequip that too. There. The rings don't matter as much. Or the earrings. There. Now I'm playing the part a little bit better. Although he still has his weapon on his back, but mine stands out a bit. Well, look at us. A pair of down at heel adventurers seeking a chance to recapture past glories. Yes, this should suffice. And now we play the waiting game.
My thanks, comrades. You must be the esteemed adventurers of whom I've heard so much. I understand you have taken an interest in our cause.
A great interest, you might say. Your words have certainly made quite an impression on my friend and I. The Resistance has long, and some would say wisely, avoided open engagements with the Garleans, but you and yours seem confident against the world in arms. I can only assume you have good reason to be so bold. Why, one might even think you are planning to summon a primal.
Oh, wow. Okay, that's...
Because that would do much to explain the sizable shipment of crystals you recently received from your smuggler friends, whom our Ishgardian allies have since detained, lest you wonder.
Okay, he's just not even playing the game.
I'd like to hear more about the Griffin. The real Griffin. Your performance earlier didn't fool us.
Ah, the famous scions of the Seventh Dawn. I should have known better than to think I could conceal the truth from you lot. You are right. I am not the Griffin, but I speak with his voice, and it was at his behest that we procured those crystals. You are wrong, however, if you think that we procured them to summon a primal. We used them to reach an accord with the Amalja. In exchange for crystals to summon their god, they will aid us in the fight for Alamegan liberation.
You've got to be joking. Have you gone completely mad? When people find out you helped the Lizardmen summon Ifrit, they'll turn on the Resistance. Alamigo will never be free.
This isn't a fairy tale, girl. We don't have the luxury to play at being honorable heroes. It's because the likes of you wouldn't sully your saintly hands that Alamigo's been under the yoke for the past 20 years. But the Griffin won't stand for it, and neither will we. We're ready to do whatever it takes.
What proof do you have of this arrangement with the Amalja?
What? Aside from a lack of crystals? None. But the beastmen have a great big pile of the things if you fancy looking. You might want to hurry, though. It'll not be long before they summon their god. Search our camp if you don't believe me. We have naught to hide.
If there is a cache to be found, Ida and I will find it.
then let us be off. Are you perchance the Warrior of Light?
Indeed.
Aye, I thought so. You should know that a great many who have joined us did so because you saved them. Because you showed them that one brave woman can make a difference. You saved me too once. Helped a friend over in Quarry Mill make some medicine I needed.
Oh!
But that was a lifetime ago.
Yeah, that was.
On behalf of my brothers and sisters, I thank you. You gave us hope where there was none, courage and strength when all was lost. We shall not squander your gift.
I know that look, Ida, and I do not like it. You cannot seriously be contemplating taking up arms with that band of cutthroats.
I just...
If the Griffin and his men have their way, it is only a matter of time before the situation in Alamigo comes to a head. Your homeland's future teeters on a knife edge, and any reckless action, however small, could have irrevocable consequences. You mustn't lose sight of that, Ida. When the time comes, we must all make our choices, but we must do so in full possession of the facts. Now, let us away. There is work to be done.
Yeah, so the first thing I have to say is the voice acting. I mean, obviously, just in Heaven's Word in general is so much better, but like the voice actress for Yida is 1,000 times better. I just, to me, the ARR Yida was just kind of over the top, a little too much. Where here it's a much more kind of subdued kind of voice or whatever, just not as, I don't know, high pitched and like bouncy or whatever. Papa Limos I didn't mind before, but I like this one a lot more. And then it's just cool that, while it's not necessarily important that you remember who this dude was, you know, that he was somebody you helped before, it is so cool, like, if you do actually like, you know, that they do have that tie-in in that way, and that if you do remember, I think it does add a bit more to it. Quarry Mill, he said. Do you remember? I do. Forgive me. You cannot be expected to recall every name and face, and besides, it's not as if it matters. Yeah, I mean, just thinking on it, I'm confident I did not remember the first time I went through this. But this time around I do, because when was that storyline? I want to say it was still in 2.0, which means it would have been a long time ago. Like at least 2 years, if not more, between when you did that and when this quest came about. I have long admired how you live in the present, how you focus on the problems at hand and always keep moving forward. So let us keep moving forward together, Lavenza. We must find and secure those crystals. This is no time for looking back. Thank you for watching this video. Tonight's stream was amazing. The Warrior of Darkness story arc in Heaven's Word is great the ending to it was just phenomenal, and it just makes me that much more excited to get back into Shadowbringers, which will be quickly, probably within the next 2 weeks, I would say, or a little bit more than 2 weeks. So if you want to see that live, or Stormblood now live, because we should be getting into that within the next few days. If you want to see that live, please join me on Twitch. The link is in the description down below. And if you enjoyed this video and want to see more, please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And thank you again for watching. Have a good one.